Hello, my Zentangle friends. This is Barbara Langston, CZT, Certified Zentangle Teacher, and welcome to Not Perfect Zen. I'm really grateful for this time of year because it is almost October, and I have been working on some of the videos for the Inktober Tangles 2021. Excuse me. And I did a tile recently with these two, which are in the first week of the Inktober Tangles. And I had a couple of people ask me if I was going to do a video for that tile, which I had done just as it was a morning meditation. This is the tile. And the patterns that I used were Ayame, which is by Emiko, Kaneko, CZT. And the other one is LunarFlux by Debbie New, CZT. And then the background is a variation of Floors by Zentangle, but I'm not going to put that on my tile today. So the things I'm going to be using is an actual Zentangle white tile, a Micron 01 graphite pencil, this is in black, and a blending stump. And I'm going to actually color this one like I did here, so I can show you how I did that. And that means I also need to use the white charcoal pencil. But I do have some watercolor dual tip markers, and I am not showing you these to endorse them. I'm just showing you because that's what I have. I have a set of Artist Loft, and then I also have a set of Tombow markers. And so that's what I'm going to be using. This is kind of a sage green, a light violet, a yellow, and kind of a mint green. That's what I used on my tile. Excuse me. So I'm going to start by showing you Ayame. And again, these are going to be in my Inktober Tangle videos that will start coming out on September 24th. So I'm not going to go through all the steps. I'm just going to show you how I did that tile. And I'm going to start with just a dot here in the middle. And then Ayame has kind of an S curve to it. So I'm going to come around like this. It's a backwards S, and then have it meet there in the center. And then I'm going to kind of aura that coming out this way, and then it's going to come back in and then meet down there in the center. And I can tell you I never get these petals the same each time, but it's okay. So here we go. We're going to do this again. Bring it around to the center. And then back down and around. And then a third one. And I think this one is closest to what the actual shape should be. But again, it really doesn't matter. Okay, for the original Ayame, she next does kind of a wavy line that comes across like that. And for this pattern, I'm going to aura that, rather for this tile. And then I'm going to fill it in, but I'm going to leave a sparkle or a white space there in the very center of this. And I'm not trying to get it perfectly even or anything. I just want to leave a white space. And then I'm going to repeat that above it. Fill that in, except for a white space in the center. And then I'm going to do that again down here at the bottom. A little bit of a curve to it, same as this shape here. Okay, so I'm going to repeat that on these other two. And I start in the middle because it helps me to space them out the way that I want. And again, you can see that I'm not trying to make that a perfect space for that sparkle. And you could put as many of these on here as you like. Okay. So I've really enjoyed working on the Inktober tangle patterns. I always learn so much. I have a tendency to look at some of those patterns and think, oh my, I don't think I can do that one nicely. But it just takes practice. It's what I tell my grandchildren when they look at something that's difficult. I just tell them it takes practice. Okay, so there's our petals. Excuse me. I did some vacuuming this morning and now my allergies are getting to me. Okay, so now I'm going to add some auras here that are going to come down to that center point. And I'm going to put 4 on each side. Okay, same thing here. And I'm starting at about where that top stripe is. And they're all meeting down here in the center, which means they are anchored auras, as opposed to an aura that just goes around the whole thing. Okay, last one. Just coming down a little bit each time on the petal or aura that was before it. And now I'm going to put kind of like fescue in the center of each of these. Ayame has a lot of possibilities as far as what you can do with it. I did this one originally as kind of a morning meditation. I had been working on the first week of Inktober Tangles, and I thought, well, why not try doing a tile with the ones that I had practiced on? And this is what I came up with. Excuse me. And the next thing I'm going to do is aura this whole thing. Turning your tile to keep yourself comfortable. And if you're right-handed and you're working on an aura, it's best to keep the pattern so that you can see on that side what you're trying to aura. Helps you to keep it a little bit more even, as opposed to trying to do it like this. If you were left-handed, then you would be pointing your pen toward what your aura, trying to add an aura to. I thought it was really cool in some of the one of the last project packs where they actually flipped some of the videos so it looks like they were being done by someone who was left-handed, because it's definitely different. And I do a lot better if I take my time. Okay, so that basically is Ayame, or one version of it that you can do. And this one is LunarFlux by Debbie New. And I'm just going to randomly add some of those here. And the way I like to start is with a stem. And then I'm going to add 3 of these teardrop shapes. And again, this is another one that I have more details on how to draw this in the day 1 of the Inktober Tangles. Okay, so the next thing is I'm going to aura these. And then I'll bring my stem back down. Okay. And then for my variation, I added striping inside of here. You could actually darken these like we did here, but I decided to not do that. I hope you don't hear the lawnmower in the background. Oh, I actually didn't do that one just right, but that's okay. This is a little bit closer to the way Spud looks. So I'm going to do a single one here. and then add my aura around it. And actually, you should have a little bit of something at the top, like that. All right, I'll show you again. This is how she does hers. It's a couple of different ways. Or you can do it like what I just did with a little point. But I forgot to put the points on those. Suppose I could. What if I add a dark point up here? If you can't fix it, then feature it. So I'm going to fix it this way. That's actually kind of cool. So we'll do that here. It's okay. There's no mistakes. I'm going to bring another single one out this way. Bring my stem back down. I hope you're not hearing that lawnmower. It always seems to be that when I start my videos, that's when the lawn mowing guys show up next door. So I'm going to do 3 again here. And then do my aura. And now I'm going to put those little points. Again, if I were doing this the way it should be done, let me show you. I would have 1, 2, 3 with the stem. And then I would come around and have a point. Or could come around and have the way the original one is, or come around and just do a smaller tip. Okay, so those are the 3 ways that you would do the original pattern. Don't be afraid to say, what if I did this? What if I do that? This is your art, your paper. That's just paper. Don't judge yourself. This is not a contest. You're not being graded. I've heard so many sad stories of someone who has done art and the teacher took what they did and tore it up or ridiculed them in front of the class. There are never any mistakes in art or in Zentangle. There's only an opportunity to learn and to grow and to get better at what you're doing. Okay. I think I'm going to have another one come out this way. Add as many of these as you would like. Oops, sorry, I was almost off the screen. Yeah, I'm trying to decide if I like doing those peaks first or second. I think I like to wait. So I think I mentioned I'm planning to start uploading. Well, I've already uploaded 10, maybe 11 videos, but they're not set to be public yet. But I thought I would go ahead and start making them public a week ahead of day one. So since day one is Friday, October 1st, I'm going to make the day one available a week ahead of time, which will be September 24th. That's the end of this week. And then I will continue to work on the ones that I have not finished as the month progresses. Okay, on that one I did the stem first. That worked out nice. Now I'll put my little stripes. And let's add one more over here to just kind of balance it out a little bit. I think I'll add a single coming back behind this one. I'm trying to put a big hat on that one, didn't I? Whoop. It's always a challenge in these videos to make sure that I'm on screen. So I'm kind of looking around my camera and also trying to keep my hand out of the way. To try to give you the best experience that I can. I have had some wonderful comments lately that really make me feel good. I do appreciate all of my subscribers. I love reading your comments. I read them all, and I try to reply to all of them. I think you deserve that. Okay. Trying to decide if it needs anything else. Okay, I think I'll stop there. And I'm going to start in the center with my light purple. This color is 620. Purple and green are the main colors in my bedroom. And so, well, they happen to be some of my favorite colors also. I am not putting the color there where that sparkle is. You've probably heard me say many times, if you've watched my other videos, that I don't like coloring, but I've started to like it a little bit better. But I do mostly enjoy having my tiles already colored with, especially with Lindy's Magicals. I love playing with those, but I've enjoyed these watercolor markers also, brush pens. Gonna make that just a little bit darker. And you can always come back over these and make them as dark as you would like. And I want these a little bit darker than with the second layer, so that when I put that charcoal pencil, the white charcoal, that will show up a little bit better. So I am going over these again, very lightly. Okay. And the next color I'm going to use is kind of a mint green. I was looking for a light green, and this one almost looks aqua bluish sometimes, but that's what I'm going to put on this second part. For anyone who might be new to using the microns, they are waterproof, okay, and archival ink, which means that the ink should not fade, and the ink should not get, what's the word I'm looking for? It should not be bothered by your watercolor. It won't bleed. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Oh, I like that. I'm going to go over just the top a little bit. Okay. Right, it should not make your ink bleed. This is the Zen part of Not Perfect Zen. I'm not trying to do everything perfect. I just relax, take deep breaths, relax your shoulders, and just enjoy what you're doing. Don't compare yourself to others. We call that comparanoia. And I made a mention of that with one of my last posts, and somebody said, yeah, don't compare, just appreciate what other people have done, especially things that you can learn from others. Okay, the next one is pale yellow, and I find that when I use yellow, it does make my ink smear a little bit, even with the microns. So when I am using yellow, I try to do it very lightly. And I have found that to be true with almost any yellow markers that I have, is that it will smear even the microns. They're supposed to be waterproof. So again, I do that very lightly. Okay. And the last thing I'm going to do is kind of a sage green. Yes, it does call it a sage green. And I'm going to use the actual marker tip this time to give myself a little bit more control, because I'm only doing the stems. And I just noticed I didn't finish bringing that stem down. Okay. So just very lightly. And for botanical, I find that this sage green is one of my favorites. Just take your time and do these in any color that you like, of course. And you don't have to color them. I find I really need to concentrate on here. So you get some quiet time. If you don't have watercolor markers, you could use just colored pencils or just any marker will do, of course. I have so many markers. The nice thing about watercolor markers, though, is you can actually blend the colors. I haven't had a lot of success doing that yet, but you can blend them. These are coming out pretty dark. It didn't seem that dark on this paper. This was an apprentice tile. There you can see the colors that I was choosing. The apprentice tile is a smoother texture than the Zentangle regular tiles. Okay, so now we have those colored. Let's do some shading. So I'm going to add some shading on the side of each of these. And a little bit down here in the center. Okay. Now I'm going to soften that. With my blending stuff. Really don't see that one, so I'm going to add a little bit more. Okay. And I think the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of shading along the outside of this aura. And then soften that. And I don't want a harsh line, so I'm just kind of blending that out until it fades really well. And again, you can choose to add this or not. And then the last thing I'm going to do is use my white charcoal pencil, and I'm just going to kind of create a line that goes from this tip through those sparkles down to the center. And then I'm just going to use my finger and soften that a little bit. Or if you have another tortillon, you could use that, another blending stump. And do that on each one of those. And this makes it look even more like it's curved. It's a finishing touch. When I first started doing this, I was really amazed at what shading could do for your tile. And I think on the inside of these, I'm going to add just a little bit more graphite to give it just a little bit more depth on each side of where I put these sparkles. And I'm thinking I do have some graphite pencils that are different hardness, softness, that might have worked a little bit better here, but it's okay. You could even come in with maybe a darker purple watercolor to highlight that. Hopefully that made a little bit of a difference. All right, there we go. You did it. I'm going to put my chop right here. And we're done. All right. I hope you enjoyed that. And I appreciate those who asked me to do it. I appreciate all of you who watch my channel. Please, if you liked this, hit the like button. and subscribe to my channel. And end of this week, I'll be starting the Inktober tangles. And again, that's 2 of them. And I think it made a beautiful tile. So appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining me. And I will see you again soon. Bye.